I think I'll answer that in a little bit differently, because I think if we go back to see what makes a country rich, what makes a country like prosperous, right? Well, there are certain policies that create that. One of them is stability, right? Long-term stability, and another is universal ideas about economic freedom, economic dignity, and so on, right? We know this. Denmark is the case in point. If we go back 200 years, then the Danish state was bankrupt. We were on the verge of being annihilated as a state. Now we're the sixth richest country per capita in the world, right? And we don't really have natural resources to speak of. So what happened there? Well, that was a policy choice where you had a long-term commitment to some fundamental universal ideas, and you focused on stable government, right? So in periods, for instance, the 70s, and now I'll get to answer your questions, where government policy became more unstable when you expanded the welfare states and so on, and before you got them under control, you saw huge economic problems again, because this lack of stability is really something that turns investors off, right? So the 70s would be something to look into, but it's not a perfect analogy.
I think that would be Denmark. Is there anything else that would come to mind in any other kind of European country where you just like see, okay, there might be a time period, very interesting what happened at the time, a lot of change, even though we had this very centrist movement.
Yeah, you're gonna hate me for this, Armin, but you could make the argument that it's sort of what happened in the Middle War years in Germany, right? You had the Weimar Republic, classical liberal, very centrist, right? And you ended up with something horrible, right? Let's just put it like that. Despite the best intentions in the world, and despite actually doing a lot of good things, the Weimar Republic government tried to do a lot of good things, right? Like they actually tried to build a modern democratic state, and it's ended up totally different, right? And generally that period, I'm not one to make the same comparisons at all, because it's not like we just had a world war, so we have to be very careful with this historical image. I must stress that, but we do see. We do see that the best intentions can turn sour, right? And often these technocratic governments will have good intentions. I mean, I'm not questioning their intentions. I'm not saying these people are bad or anything. They have good intentions. But if you don't have fundamental principles guiding your intentions, it's going to be hard to judge them against a bigger long-term historical picture, would be my argument.